See guys, in the accrual basis of accounting, best example is, let's assume again your company A, you have, let's say, borrowed, how much I tell you, let's say you have borrowed 1 lakh Indian rupees in the form of like corporate bonds. Okay. And let's assume the rate of interest at 10% per annum or paid on an annual basis. So what happens, guys? Let's assume, since I told you it's a Indian company, so let's assume on 31st March of every year, you are required to pay 1 lakh multiplied by this 10% equal to 10,000 that you would be paying on every 31st March, which is coming till the time this loan amount is fully repaid. So that means to say that at the time of this 31st March, on this very 31st March, your 10,000 rupee is due and you're required to pay it on that day, first of all. But since we are following this accrual basis of accounting, that means expense as incur. Whenever we incur any expense, please mark it as your expense in your, what I would say, the income statement. And if you are following this unrealized that accumulated other comprehensive income, please mark it there and then only. But the sole motive should be that accrual should be expensed as incurred. So that means to say, like, there are like 4 quarters in between. Okay. So in quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. So for quarter one, it might be ending in the month of June, 30, 30 June. Like you must be having a 1/4 accrual of this 10,000. Again, 1/4 would be in the next quarter. Again, 1/4 would be in the next quarter. And in the last quarter, you would be having the remaining 1/4. So that means to say, although the due date is 31st March for you to pay the per annum interest, but as and when the quarter has passed, as and when the period has elapsed, you should be accruing that in your books of account, that this is my part of liability that I am now eligible to pay, or at least I'm obliged, not eligible, I would be correcting myself. The word is obliged to pay when this quarter has ended. But there is one more concept which doesn't follows this accrual basis, neither it follows the due follow concept. It only follows the cash inflow or outflow, or you can say it in other words, the source of cash or the use of cash. This is how the terminology is used, but the concept remains the same. जब भी आप पे करोगे, whenever you are paying, even if you are paying it on, let's say, 3rd of January, the interest, even it is paid 10,000 for the whole year on 3rd January, you would be taking into your books of account, which are prepared on a cash basis. That means the CFA statement, in your CFA statement, you would be taking into account that this, on 3rd January, I have paid this interest, and this interest would again be like mark as a part of your like operating activities or financing activities, as the situation might be. But yeah, our cash basis is completely different from what is followed in terms of accrual and due basis of accounting. And cash only and only focuses on when we are receiving the cash and when we are paying the cash, while our accrual basis of accounting is solely on the basis of please expense it as and when it is incurred. If you are standing, let's say, like the H1 or H2, H1 or H2, I mean to say half year one, half year two. If there is some sort of payment, let's say if you are obliged to pay it in terms of like semi-annual basis, then also like in the semi-annual basis, you might be incurring all of these, like the interest which I was telling you in this example, like the quarter basis. Instead of quarter, you might be having this accrued in your books of account in the H1 or H2, as the situation or the case may be. Or even there might be some European regulations also in some countries, like you might be required to follow. But yeah, the overall concept remains same, like the accrual and the dual basis works on a different way versus what this cash basis of accounting works. Okay.